Back in the day, Nintendo released a couple of Mario games on the Game Boy. The name of this special series for their handhelds was called Super Mario Land. Now, these games were always a bit weird and didn't follow the normal storyline with Mario saving Princess Peach. However, when the third game in the series was released, there was quite a dramatic change. The villain of the previous one became the playable character and the anti-hero. Wario Land Super Mario Land 3 released in 1994 and Wario became the star of the game. This is the third and final installment in the Super Mario Land series and the first in the Wario Land series. So the villain replaced the hero, which is cool, but the previous games were also amazing. So it makes us a bit sad as well. Now, this is a major change, and as you could expect, they experimented a lot with this new game. And today we're going to take a look at all the stuff that they left out or changed, like graphics, locations, items, enemies, and more. First, we're going to take a look at an alternate scene of one of the first bosses that's never seen in the game. A significant number of tiles relating to the bird Bobo are unused. However, when using them, you can create this. Some small interesting things that can be seen in this setup are Syrup's castle in the background, Bobo is sitting down while he never does so in the game, the emblem on his chest is different, and the normal emblem has no horns and looks more like a skull. It's highly unlikely that the boss even moved in this arena, because the Bobo object actually moves around the foreground tiles that compose the main Bobo body. Here the background is far too complicated to have Bobo move around without severe graphical glitches. This could have been the reason for changing the setup of the fight. Another interesting thing that could have played a role in this is the overall design of the room. It doesn't really match the SS teacup, so it's possible that the fight was meant for Parsley Woods, which is a stage after this event. So it could be that this was originally seen in Parsley Woods, but in the end they made a separate stage for it with a completely new arena.
Now, there are also some small changes here and there in individual worlds. For example, Sherbet Land. The frozen platform that's used in the boss area has an extra row of tiles that aren't used. In the final version, it opts to use the waterline tiles instead, which helps explain how the penguin boss is getting those shell helmets. This is mostly done so that the actual boss fight makes sense, so quite a logical change. Another weird thing seen in this world are these tiles that are loaded at the last part of Course 1 but go completely unused. The second one seems to be a variant of the bottom part of the wooden board seen on walls, and the other could be an early version of the log bridges. Now, Syrup Castle also seems to have something which is a bit odd. These spikes that were supposed to appear there. They seem fine and finished, however, they were most likely replaced by the lava, because that's seen a ton in the final product. Now, there were also some interesting changes to some enemies, bosses, and other weird things in general. For example, it turns out that the Wandering Goom may have had an attack at one point, because this spitting graphic and projectile are unused remains, so apparently it was meant to fire these at you. But in the end that didn't go through, most likely because they wanted an enemy that was just fun to take out, just something simple. Sadly enough, it doesn't add a whole lot to the game now. However, they're still fun to mess around with. Now there's also something new that they wanted to add, something a bit strange. A rowboat for Wario. This one would have appeared in one of the areas in the world map, probably Rice Beach. So would this be a different introduction to the game? It would have made for an interesting intro to it all, and seeing the whole map at the beginning could be a nice touch. But no, nothing. We get none of it. While the boat actually looks quite good. Now, there are also some interesting things related to the bosses, extra moves, or the attacks that they would perform. Because it seems like the Stove Canyon boss Fun was going to eat Wario at one point, since he has graphics for moving his tongue and Wario dying as a result. Maybe he would have grabbed you right when his tongue went down and you were in the way, so you could always jump into it by accident. This would have been a cool extra, however, it would make the fight even harder, and the fight is already quite challenging. This could have been the reason for scrapping this feature. It's the only thing we can think of and would make sense to us. Now for another boss with some changes, we have to go back to Parsley Woods, because the ghost there had some interesting moves. Because this boss also has graphics for throwing coins, not just spawning them out of thin air. This would have made the fight easier for sure, because he now telegraphs his attacks, making them easier to detect. It was probably left out for this reason. The version seen in the final game is already quite easy, and this would have made it even worse. Now, there are also some interesting small changes that were left out. An item, a minor change to the map, and even an unused location. Object 0D allows the box it's placed over to spawn a 10 coin block, but none are placed in-game. They probably removed it because you could get a lot of coins quite quickly, and these unlock different endings. So it's quite a logical change, otherwise the alternate endings wouldn't mean anything.
Now let's move on to our final topic, the unused glitch location in the game. The value at A79F specifies where on the Kitchen Island map Wario is currently placed, while values 0 to 6 map from Rice Beach to Syrup's Castle respectively. Value 7 specifies the start of the bridge to Sorbet Island behind Mount Teapot. This results in layering errors if the teapot's lid is still hovering over the mountain. This location contains a valid left arrow moving the player to Sorbet Land, passing over the bridge. If this location is entered by pressing A, Mario enters Mount Teapot from the left, the secret exit to Sorbet Land. All values above 7 map to invalid locations, having no arrows to move elsewhere, showing repeated parts of the map, and place Wario in an off-screen position. In these cases, pressing A does nothing. However, it's kind of broken and a lot of features aren't possible anymore. So this was probably a mistake, or they planned something we have no idea of. And that's kind of it. As you can see, they changed quite a lot of things, and especially the last one was weird. Quite fitting for Wario's personality though. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Do you want to watch more? Of course you do! Click those annotations, subscribe! Why didn't you click the bell? Why don't you follow me and Ricky on Twitter? What? There are a lot of questions, please answer them for me. Help.